October 8th, 2023, at 4 o'clock in the morning, I started feeling a pain. I remember asking my gynecologist, I've never felt contractions before. How would I know? How would I know if I'm feeling contractions? And she said, you're gonna know. Initially, I wasn't really aware of what it was or really paying attention to what it was, but I noticed that it would start and then it would stop, and then for whatever reason, baby girl doesn't want to be in my arms right now, which is weird because she always wants to be in my arms, but she doesn't want to be in the video. So I started feeling the pain at 4 o'clock in the morning. I didn't tell anyone at the point in time. I just went and I sat by myself in a corner and I was observing it to see exactly what was happening, if it was, what they say that the contraction was going to be. So I'm going to insert a photo of how often I started feeling the pain, because it would start and then it would stop. So I started taking a record of exactly how often I was feeling it. Around minutes to 5, the pain got really intense and I decided to wake my boyfriend up, wake my mom up. But basically the whole household woke up because I was balling on the place. It was getting hot. It was getting hot. Everyone was like just basically hanging around, watching me. I'm just there in pain. It's coming, it's going, it's coming, it's going. She was telling me, it's early still. You don't have to go to the hospital right now. You can just wait it out a little bit. In the process of waiting it out, I was able to have a shower. I was able to do my edges. I was able to put on an earring, put on a little bit of jewelry to make myself feel good. And I got myself ready to go to the hospital. About an hour passed, and about 6 o'clock, well, the pain started to get even more intense. And my mom was like, it's time to go. I left the house around 10 or 6:15. And I do have a piece of footage in my phone of the car ride to the hospital. It's gonna get a little loud, all right? But check it out. Pressure down there? Yes. I don't know why I thought that I would be able to film this whole labor and delivery process. I really thought that I was going to be able to film it. But that pain was so hot that I didn't even care where my bag was. I didn't care where my phone was. I didn't even think about YouTube or anything like that, because it was just so intense. Like the pain was just getting stronger and stronger. And that car ride to the hospital was the longest ride I ever had. It felt like it took forever to happen. In about 15-20 minutes, I was at the hospital. They took me down to the maternity ward, and then I spoke to the nurses. I told them, well, the contractions are coming. It's getting stronger. And they officially admitted me to the ward. Before I got to my bed, I started feeling nauseous and like I really wanted to throw up. So one of the nurses gave me like a little bowl and I did throw up in it. So comment down below, because I find it very odd that I've never heard anything about nauseousness or throwing up during contractions. Like it really made me feel sick to my stomach. I actually threw up a couple times before I got to my bed. They admitted me and they put me on bed number 7. And if you know, you know. But if you don't know, I'm going to tell you anyways. 7 is my lucky number. I was born on the 7th of April. So it's really a number that resonates with me. So when they put me on bed number 7, even though the pain was intense and I was losing my mind, it did give me a little bit, it made me feel lucky. It made me feel really lucky to be at my favorite number. I eventually got to the bed and I just wanted to lie down and grind my pain as much as I could. But the nurses kept saying to me, you need to get up. You need to walk around. You need to stretch your legs. I'm like, what? I'm in so much pain right now. No one trying to walk. I'm not trying to walk. I'm not trying to do anything. I just want to lie down. So I did for a couple minutes, but I eventually did get up and start walking around. Like when the pain came, it's like it literally stopping me in my tracks, because I'm walking the corridor. I'm walking, and then the pain would come, and then it's like, you know, like literally stopping me in my tracks. Anyone who told me that contractions are a strong menstrual cramp, you lie. Okay? You lie. Because those two things are nothing the same. Well, at least from my experience, they were not the same. I cannot compare contractions to period cramps because period cramps are down here and contractions are over there. So I'm there, you know, I'm just dealing with it, coping with it. I mean, there are other ladies there as well who, you know, were going through the same thing as me. And then eventually the nurses came to me and she told me she was going to take me to the examination room. They brought me into the examination room. They strapped me up, put some wires on me. Not wires, they put like a heart monitor on me and she's telling me that I need to stay still so she can monitor the heart rate and monitor something. I'm like, stay still, woman, this pain is so hot, like I cannot stay still. I wasn't able, I mean, eventually it got to the point where I like forced myself to like just grind some of the contractions so that she can get the reading that she needed. But overall, like I just couldn't, I just had to move, you know, just to keep myself moving so that it would be more bearable. While I'm in the examination room, they were asking me, you know, about my medical history. They were asking me about my last ultrasound. I said, I did an ultrasound, but I don't have the results, you know. I actually had the ultrasound office forward the results directly to my doctor. So they were like, well, we need to book you for an ultrasound because we see that you have, because I had disclosed to them that that I was diagnosed with, what's it called again? What the hell? What's it called? I don't know why my brain is not functioning right now, but I was diagnosed with something. I'm gonna put the name right here. I don't know why my brain is not functioning right now. I can't think of it. They said to me, well, we need to know your ultrasound results because we want to know if these, why I can't remember the name. When you're editing this, you're gonna feel mad crazy that you weren't able to think of this word. Anyway, they told me that I needed to get the ultrasound done because they weren't sure if these things were going to interfere with the birth. I'm like, well, based on what the ultrasound technician told me, I don't think that would be the case, but they were like, you know, they need to be sure and all of that. Also, while I was in the examination room, she decided to go ahead and pop my water bag because this has not happened as yet. I said to her, is it gonna hurt? Because I'm already in so much pain. Like I literally don't even want to feel any more pain. So I'm like, is it gonna hurt? She's like, no, it's not gonna hurt. So she did her thing and she did her thing. I mean, I don't even know, but she did her thing. And then I just felt this warm water, this warm liquid. Sorry, I'm talking about you. I'm telling our story. I'm sorry. And that made the pain even more intense. She says to me, okay, we're going to book you for an ultrasound. Go back to your bed for the time. And I'm like, okay. But I'm on the examination. I'm on the bed in the examination room. And I'm telling you, she's saying to me, don't push. Don't push. I'm like, woman, I am not pushing, okay? I am not pushing, but there is something. I'm not doing any pushing. I'm physically not pushing. Like I'm literally trying to not push, but there is something pushing. She's like, what? This woman takes me and she brings me over to the labor room. Yes, she did. Let me just try and explain to you what these contractions feel like, right? Because it's something that you have to imagine. At least for me, in my experience, it's something that you have to imagine. If there's anyone out there who's in love with horror movies, or you watch horror movies, or you're seeing any scene in a movie where there is some kind of monster inside of someone's body and it's pushing its way to come outside, yeah. You have to imagine what it feels like because it literally feels like there is something inside forcing its way out. It's massive, yes, big, and it's trying to make its way out of you. That's what contractions felt like to me. So I'm in the labor room and there is about two doctors or one nurse, one doctor and two nurses inside there with me as the staff. And they're saying to me, okay, Crystal, so when when you start to feel the contractions, you're going to push. Only when you feel the contractions, you're going to push. And they basically tested my cervix, and they're like, okay, you're 10 centimeters dilated, you're ready to go. When you feel the pain, we need you to push. And this was about probably 11 o'clock. I've heard situations of women who been in labor for like 48 hours, 20 hours, 24 hours. But to me, I started at 4 o'clock, and 11 o'clock, I was already in the labor room getting ready to push. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to push. Note well that this was the most scariest part for me. Like, I felt like this was going to be very challenging, and it was. So let me just continue with this story. I'm in there, I start feeling the contractions. It's like, okay, once you start feeling the contractions, it's time to push. And I'm pushing. I'm feeling the contractions. I'm doing exactly what they say. The more I'm pushing, the more there are people walking into the room. I push once, I see another nurse come in. I push again, I see another doctor come in. I push again, and I'm just seeing people coming in and walking in and walking in. At some point, there is like almost 10. I want to say maybe I might be confused because, you know, I wasn't really paying attention to exactly how much, but there's probably like 10 people in the room at this point in time, and I'm pushing and I'm pushing. So time is going, and I'm pushing, and we're not really seeing much progress. So I'm getting a little nervous. You know, I can see on everybody's faces that they're also getting a little nervous. There's a lady with a heart monitor, and every so often there will be like heartbeat, and she will come and rest that on me, and then you would hear the heartbeat. So it was scary because every time she would do it, the heartbeat would get like a little slower and a little bit slower and a little bit slower. So that was scary. At one point, a doctor came up to me and she said, Crystal, there are 4 doctors in this room right now. That is not normal. First of all, what you telling me that for? Why are you saying this to me? Because you don't think I'm already nervous and terrified. This is my first time. I already don't know what's supposed to be happening. You come in and telling me that there are 4 doctors in here and this is not normal and whatever. Anyway, I didn't think that was a very appropriate thing to say at that time. But yeah, because it really made me more nervous than I already was nervous. So anyway, time is passing. I'm pushing, we not see no progress. At some point, one of the nurses come on top of the bed, and she's on me, and she's like doing this to my stomach, like tickling my stomach like this to, I guess, you know, encourage the contractions. The contractions were encouraged, and when I started pushing, this woman was pushing down on my stomach. I'm looking at her, she's looking at me, like we're both pushing right now. And they keep telling me, you need to push harder, you need to push harder. And I'm saying to them like, hello, I am pushing as hard as I can push. Like, what do you mean push harder? I'm pushing as hard to the point where I'm number 2ing myself. TMI, but we're just keeping it real. That's how hard I'm pushing. And they're saying to me, no, you need to push harder, you need to push harder. When this one comes, push harder. And that was kind of like annoying and frustrating at the same time, because like I know I was giving it my all. I knew that I was, you know, like really at my limit when it came to pushing. Like I can't fathom where am I going to get the strength to push even harder. Like I'm literally going as hard as I can. But they kept asking me to push harder, push harder, push harder, push harder. I'm like, whatever. The nurse that was pushing on my stomach, she started sweating buckets, okay? And they did like a tag. I didn't literally do that, but they switched. She switched, and then another nurse came over me, and she was pushing. When I started pushing, she was pushing as well. Pushing down on my stomach, and then we wasn't seeing much progress from that, so she started pushing down on my pelvic bone, which hurt like hell. But I'm like, you know what? Do what you gotta do. Let's push together, because y'all obviously feel like I'm not pushing. It came to the point where I was pushing so hard, I thought to myself, maybe I'm doing it wrong. Like they're telling me to push my lower body. Maybe that's wrong. Let me try pushing higher up. I started pushing with my face, which caused some blood vessels in my eyes to pop. So don't do that, okay? That is not That is not a good thing to do, but that is what I did. I'm still in the labor room and I'm pushing and I'm pushing and I'm pushing and I'm pushing and I'm pushing. And at some point, another nurse comes on top of me. She's helping me push. She's pushing down on my stomach, helping me once again. And then she looks at the nurse who is, the doctor who is receiving the package, this package right here. She looks at her and she says, cut her. And I'm like, huh? Cut who? Cut who? She says, oh, the one receiving the package says, she's already tearing. And the lady on top of me, she says, cut her. And in the moment of her saying that, I just screamed at the top of my lungs, because in my head, I literally felt this woman cut me. So she looks down at me and she's like, why are you screaming? We haven't even cut you yet. I said, really? Because I literally just felt the cut. So I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was my brain playing tricks on me, telling me that I was cut when I wasn't. But I screamed so loud that everybody was like, oh, what's going on with she there? So they eventually did cut me. I sustained a level 3 out of, I found out that there are 4 levels of tearing. Then at some point they started juking me up with needles. Somebody's juking me on this leg. Somebody's juking me on this leg. People are giving me oxygen. It just started getting really real. She's getting fussy. I had to pop her on the boob, but I think we're good. We're safe. We're still PG-13. All right, so let me continue on with the story. It really did take a while, probably about an hour. I was in the labor room pushing. It was really challenging and it was very scary. When her head eventually came out, I felt like a sign of relief, but the challenges didn't stop there, because apparently one of her shoulders was lodged somewhere, and it really was a challenge. As soon as her entire body came out, the pediatricians just grabbed her. They put her on a side table. They were like, I'm not sure what they were doing, because I couldn't see. I couldn't see anything. I was looking in the direction, but I couldn't really see what they were doing. But what I do remember is that I didn't hear her cry, and that really made me nervous. That took about 5-10 minutes. I was just lying on the bed. It was a really interesting set of emotions running through me at that point in time. Eventually, I heard her make her little sounds, and that was a big sign of relief for me, because she did sustain some injuries during the labor. She was stuck in the passageway for a long time. So I only got to see her for 2 minutes, if that was it. The doctor did allow me just to give her a little kiss. When I got out of the labor room, they took me back to my bed, and I was just so exhausted. I was just so thirsty. I felt I felt really dehydrated and tired. So they took me back to my bed, and I just basically went to sleep instantly. She was born around 12 minutes, 5 minutes to 12. I slept. I woke up around after 2 o'clock, still feeling exhausted, still in a lot of pain. And when I woke up, the nurses and the people around me were basically saying, you need to eat something, you used up a lot of energy, you need to eat something. But I didn't really have an appetite. I remember eating this macaroni salad. I only took about 3 bites of it. And as soon as I swallowed it, I just threw up instantly. And I don't know what it was, if there was something in my stomach that really wanted to come out. But after I threw up, I felt amazing. I just felt so brand new. I was like, whoa, where is this burst of energy coming from? Where is this spike coming from? Because I just felt so amazing in my mind. I wasn't able to move around or anything like that. The first day, it was really challenging being on the hospital and not having her with me. It was weird because obviously I'm surrounded by other moms who are pregnant. They come in pregnant, they come back out with their baby. The baby is right by their bedside, and I'm just there by myself. I'm just, just watching everyone with their child. It was strange. It was a very weird emotion for me. And at this point in time, I was not aware that I was allowed to go into the the special care room to visit her. Like these people, some of these nurses and them acting like you're supposed to just know everything. You know, they move like you're supposed to just know. First of all, I've never done this before. This is my first time. So it was weird. And then one nurse came up to me and she's like, why are you not visiting the baby? I'm like, what do you mean, why am I not visiting the baby? I had no idea that I was even allowed to enter the room. I didn't know that I was able to do that. So when I found out that I was able to do that, well, obviously I was going in there, checking on her, making sure she's doing all right. I did start feeling hopeful because every day I would visit her since the birth. I would notice that less wires was attached to her. And every time I went, it was less and it was less and it was less. So that really did give me some faith and some hope. Now, on the third day, which was, well, it probably wasn't the third day, it's probably the fourth day, but on Wednesday, so I went in the hospital on Sunday. On Wednesday, they came to my bed and this woman told me that I am going to get discharged. I said, with the baby? They're like, no, you're going home and the baby's gonna stay and you can come here every day and visit her. I started to cry. I started to cry one time because that concept just didn't really make sense to me. That was very hard to hear and hard to accept because I'm like, what? I'm leaving her here and you expect me to come back every day, but best you just leave me here. So I don't know if it was magic or who were able to pull these strings. I don't know who talked to who. I don't know if it was just the right timing for this to happen. But that day when they told me that I was getting discharged, they officially released her from the special care unit. And I was like, they brought me a little bed. So since that happened, they weren't able to discharge me anymore. They were going to discharge me on the grounds that she's in the unit where, you know, she's being monitored 24/7. But now that she was discharged from that, now I'm the one watching her. I was not getting discharged again. So I was really happy about that. It was nice to have her next to me. As I said, it was sad, you know, just being there by myself, knowing that I just push out a whole human being and I don't get to, you know, have that first couple of days bonding with her and things like that. What's happening? What are you saying? More? Are we saying more? Okay, we're saying more. Another thing I forgot to mention is that while she was in the ICU, the second day, they came to me and they told me that they wanted me to express milk. And I was like, what? My mind wasn't even on that. I ain't even thinking about making milk because she locked up inside there and they were obviously feeding her like formula and stuff like that. There's a very nice nurse on the ward. She is a specialist when it comes to breastfeeding, and she came and she like brought the warm compress and she taught me how to express and all these different things. So although my production was minimal, I was able to, you know, contribute to her feeding. And then when she was finally released to me, then I started breastfeeding her. Me and she, we chilling, we bonding, we getting to know each other. It was very hard the first night because she was on a schedule of waking up every 2 to 3 hours, and it was really challenging. Like initially I did envy the other moms on the ward, but then when I had to like wake up every couple of hours to feed her and just, you know, like comfort her and things like that, it really did become a bit challenging. But it was good, you know. I don't want to say I enjoyed my time in the hospital, but I don't really mind it, especially the food. Because I know that a lot of people say that the food is disgusting, but I personally, I like hospital food. Like, I think hospital food is quite interesting. I wouldn't want to say it's tasty because it doesn't have a lot of taste in it, but I don't mind it because usually the food I eat is very flavorful. So when I get to experience just kind of bland food, I enjoy it. It makes me feel healthy. It makes me feel like, you know, I'm doing something good for my body. So I enjoy the food. Friday came, so she was released on Wednesday. Friday came, supposed to get discharged. I called my mom, I called my boyfriend, I said, yo, I'm coming home. Everybody got excited, and then they said, no, you ain't going nowhere. So that was depressing. I was there till Saturday again. They have a cute way of referring to your discharge paper as your passport. So on Saturday, they said, yeah, you're getting your passport today. So I, was really excited to come home with her and be out of the hospital. Because as much as I don't mind being there, there comes a point in time, home is where the heart is. So I was really happy to get discharged and to be home. Big up to all the nurses, big up to the doctors, especially the nice ones. There are some of them who are really piggy and really rude and disrespectful. But overall, my experience was good. It wasn't good, but overall, it could have been worse. It was an all right experience. There were some really, really kind, genuine employees at the hospital, and I really appreciate you guys. I also want to say big up to my family. You guys are also MVPs, keeping it real, supporting me and assisting me in all the possible ways, even ways that I didn't even think I would need help. They are here to help me. Yeah, that was my experience on becoming a mommy. And now man's a mommy. If there's anyone pregnant at the moment, you got this. You will be fine. Trust me. I thought I was gonna die. All right? But you are going to be fine. Say bye, YouTube. Bye.